So, if you've accepted that no one can lose your weight for you, and if you choose to follow through with losing your excess weight and keeping it off, I want you to make plans to have a DTR talk with food. Let me tell you where I get this. I work with a lot of young students, and they talk about the DTR talk in their relationships with their significant others. Well, what they have told me is that DTR stands for determine the relationship. Well, as opposed to having a DTR talk with your food, I want you to have a CTR talk with your food. I want you to have a CTR talk, and CTR stands for change the relationship. Because you may not even realize at this point what the nature of your relationship with food is. Sometimes it takes a while after the surgery to figure out exactly what that is. But what I want you to do is sometime between now and the time you have your surgery, I want you to go home with nobody there. I want you to sit in your kitchen, open all the refrigerator doors, open the freezer, pull out the drawers, open any cupboard you have in your house, anything that has food in it, and I want you to say, food, here's the deal. Today you and I are having a change the relationship talk. Oreos, listen up. Chips, you too. Candy, I'm talking to you. As of today, we are going to change our relationship. You see, you and I have been friends, but the truth is, our friendship has to change. I know you've been there for me at every time I've been upset or sad or lonely or bored or scared, but the bottom line is I've abused you, and the truth is you've harmed me. My health is getting bad. My diabetes is no good. My blood pressure is bad. I'm on all of this medication, and real friends don't do that to each other. So as of today, we're changing the relationship. From now on, I'm making a commitment that I'm not going to abuse you, and you are no longer going to be part of my life. Definitely not on an everyday basis, and some of you may not ever appear in my life at all again. Now I need to have a relationship with your food because I need you to live. And that's exactly how I'm going to treat you from now on. You are going to be a means to provide my body with good health. I now eat to live rather than live to eat. In the past, I've lived to eat, but now I'm going to eat so that I can live, and I'm going to live healthy. And we may have to have this talk again in the future, but for now, suffice it to say that as of today, our relationship has changed. So, if I see you out or if people present you to me, I'm just going to tell you, I enjoyed our relationship in the past, but it is no more. So, doing this, having this CTR talk with your food, helps establish a different mindset. You've got to operate from that moment on with the mindset that food is to sustain your body in a healthy way. Okay, so every time you think thoughts about food in the wrong way, I want you to recommit yourself to choosing food as a means to be healthy for life. The Change the Relationship talk is one of the tools that you can use as you learn how to deal with your food situation after your surgery. And speaking of tools, it's going to be important that you actually develop a toolkit. Now your toolkit is something that you can have physically, that you add little tips to and write down as you learn them, or it can be a notebook that you write toolkit on. The important thing is that every time you learn something from somebody else who's had surgery, or something you've learned on obesityhelp.com, or something you've read, add it to your toolkit, because these are the things that are going to help you learn how to live like a thin person. Turn to your toolbox whenever you need to and use the tools. Again, just having them won't help you. You've got to use them. They're to help you get through the rough times. Something that I encourage people to do is to develop, as part of their toolbox or toolkit, a tip jar. Now, a tip jar in this case has nothing to do with money. The tip jar is something that you can go to at times when you need to be distracted from food. So now if you have kids or grandkids or other family members, it's a good thing to get them involved in this, because your family needs to be involved in your process as well. This is a good way to do that. What you want to do is you want to get an actual jar, and you want to get slips of paper, 100 of them. And on each slip of paper you write something different that you can do as opposed to eating. For example, they can be important things like sit down and send a note to my Aunt Susie I haven't talked to in a month. Or it can be completely nonsensical things like go outside and pick 5 leaves up out of the yard. It doesn't matter what it is. The point is, the tips are to distract you from turning to food. Say you're bored or angry or upset or scared, and it's one of those times that you instinctively turn to food. What you're looking for is a way to redirect you from food to getting through that moment when you're wanting food. So remember, again, you have to make the choice to live healthy, and at some point in that process, you have to use the tips that you're learning. So the tip jar is another one of the tools to keep you from gaining your weight back. I want to talk to you for a minute about AA. Yes, Alcoholics Anonymous. There are several reasons that I bring this into the conversation. The most important being, and you may have heard this on Oprah, because that's where I first heard it, is that 25% of people who have bariatric surgery of whatever form become alcoholic, or they turn to another behavioral addiction. Now before you say, but I don't drink and I never have drank, it doesn't matter. 25% of the people who have bariatric surgery become alcoholic whether they drank or not, or they may turn to another behavioral addiction. What I mean by another behavioral addiction, by the way, is gambling or shopping or pornography, some other behavior that's intended to take your mind off of life. All right? Now, let's talk about the word addict, because people don't like it. When I say addiction, what I mean is a food or alcohol or some other behavior is an addiction if it's caused a pattern of problems in a person's life. For example, let's use alcohol. Let's say that a person gets a DUI. Does that automatically make that person an alcoholic? Not really. Most of us, at some point in our life, could have gotten a DUI, and that wouldn't make everybody an alcoholic. However, let's say that that same person has missed work on a number of occasions because they're hungover, or has acted in a way to embarrass their family, or has gotten into some sort of fight because of alcohol. What we're talking about here then is a pattern of behaviors that's problematic related to alcohol. Let's take food. Some people don't believe that food is an addiction. I'm not here to convince you either way. Just want to present some information and you make up your own mind. All right. Let's talk about obesity. In my mind, there's no doubt that obesity has caused problems, a pattern of problems for a person. Most likely your health has been impaired, not just on one level, but for most people at this point, it's blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, aching knees and joints, sleep apnea, the list goes on and on. Also, most people's family members have been affected by their obesity. Maybe you're not able to participate in things the way you would like to, or not able to go to events that your family's participating in. I'm an addictions counselor, and from my perspective, it seems to me that without question, obesity does fall into the category of an addiction. Now, the reason that so many people switch addictions or become alcoholic after having bariatric surgery is because food, much like alcohol, is a way for people to not deal with whatever it is that's bothering them. Think about addiction like the game of whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole is my favorite fair game. I don't know if you've ever seen it or ever played it, but basically you have a hammer and there's these little moles that pop up on the board and you have to whack them down as they pop up. So if food is your addiction and you pop that down, then up might pop alcohol. You pop that down and up might come shopping. You pop that down and again you're eating. So addiction can be like whack-a-mole. But what you got to do is realize that no matter what, you have to do what AA calls learning to live life on life's terms. Basically, all that means is learning to deal with situations as they occur.